Have you ever been negotiating an obstacle and it just felt like your brakes were dragging? They might very well have been. We're going to address that issue today. Hey guys, welcome back to another cool, dreary spring day in North Kakalaki. We're a little bit bored. My work has shut down for this COVID-19 business. Em's been working from home for a couple of weeks now. Everybody's I think she's getting sick of me, to be honest with you. I don't know why, but anyway. So what we're talking about today is the parking brake cable. I do not remember having this issue on my JK or any of my, I had a TJ and I had an LJ, and my first Jeep was a CJ7. Had it when I was young. I got it in 85. So I don't remember having this issue with any of the previous Jeeps. What it is, so when you lift your Jeep, the way these parking brake cables are attached, when you lift your Jeep, right, the parking brake cable is attached just above the frame rail on the body. So when you put a lift on it, you're raising it up above the axle, whether it's, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, or whatever, right? You're raising it up that far. And so that's going to take some of the slack out of your parking brake cable. So if this is your axle and your parking brake cable hooks into either side, when you're at flex like this and your body is still going to be somewhat straight, it's going to put pressure on this side. Whichever side is drooped down, that's where the pressure is going to be, and it may cause that brake on that side to drag. And the same way with the other side. If it tilts this way, this side will be dragging. So it can cause a couple of different things. It can cause premature wear of your brake pads. It can also, if you get flexed out enough, because I have some really good Jeep friends who don't run bump stops. Not something I would do, but hey, you do you, boo. If you're not running bump stops and you flex that joker way out, there is a possibility you could break the eye off that the cable actually attaches to. Over time, you can even stretch those cables a little bit. And so if you're familiar, if you've ever gotten in a vehicle and the parking brake handle is just sloppy and flopping around, that could be an issue. All right, that could be one of the outcomes of not doing this little mod right here. First thing, make sure your parking brake is disengaged. Alright, so underneath your Jeep, I'm in front of the rear axle. This is your parking brake cable. It attaches to an eyelet right here. The line runs up. The line runs up and over top of your frame, and is actually bolted to the body with a retainer right there. So what you'll do is you'll take that retainer off, and all it is a clamp that just kind of holds it up there. Take that bolt out, drop that retainer, and so then what we'll do is we'll disconnect the cable from the drum, and then run the cable, feed it back through here over top of the frame rail and run it under the frame rail. So I bet there's a good 5 inches between the frame and the body where the cables are mounted. So that should give us plenty of slack when we're wheeling. We won't have to worry about the parking brake binding up. There we go. There it goes. Just like that. That wasn't too difficult. The bolt on this retaining bracket is a 13 millimeter. there she is. You can see how the cables fit right in there. So now what we'll do is we'll take this cable and feed it back over top of that frame rail and then back down and behind it. Just like that. You can actually pull that eye out a little bit. Dadgummit. It wasn't that easy, and I'm going to show you why. So you guys saw me fumbling around with that, trying to get that together. There just wasn't enough slack. I mean, I could get the cable to the hole in the eye, but because of the way the end of the cable is designed, it's got two little bends in it, and there just wasn't enough slack. What I ended up having to do was go underneath the console, release the tension on the cable itself. It's not hard. It was just another step I hadn't counted on doing. But if you look, there's the back of the console. All right, there's 4 bolts, 2 on each side right here, and then there's 1 in the front and 2 on the other side, and they're 10 millimeters. So you take those bolts out and you can literally pull the back of your console up to access that. Here are your cables, right? And here's the adjuster, and then there's a right there, you can't see real well, but right there, that's the adjuster. And there's a 10 millimeter nut on the back of it. You just back that off, it brings all this back, and it gives you enough room, or gives you slack in your cable. Now the one thing I will say is make sure you count the number of turns that you release that, so that when you go to tighten it back up, you put it back in the right place and you're not worried about adjustment. So let's get the other side done. All right, now that I got all that slack in the cable, this side shouldn't take any time at all. we go. All right. Whatever you do, make sure if you do this mod, make sure you put this back. Don't get lazy and just leave this hanging, because if you do, your e-brake's not going to work. It has to have a point, a stationary point for this cable. Otherwise, if you just leave this loose and you pull your e-brake inside, this is just going to flop around. It's not going to engage anything. So make sure you hook this back up. Don't run into the issue I did, not being able to hook that other side up, hook the end of the cable up and say, well, I'll just leave this hanging, it'll be fine. No, it won't. You won't have an e-brake. So from underneath the Jeep, here's what we did. These are the parking brake cables. They were mounted up to the tub and then came over top of this frame rail and then down. And so what we did was we ran them back over the top and then down in front of the frame rail. So I'm sure that probably gained a good 6, maybe 8 inches of slack in this. And that should work well. Now to put all this shit back together. All right, so counted them all out. It was 95 turns to get the slack I needed. So it should be pretty dadgum close to what it was when I got it loose. So now to put all this back. What do you know? My buddy old Mo Dale just sent me a text. Let's see what he wants. So now we got the console back down. Now we got to go to put the bolts back in. And that's pretty much it for the relocation of the parking brake cables. Again, if you guys have followed my channel for a while, you know I'm not going to edit out every problem I run into. This is one that I'm not going to edit out because I feel like a lot of people may have this issue. So not being able to get the cable back in the eye on the hub, that's a significant issue, I think. So I showed you what I did to resolve that issue. Just got up under the console, and it took 10 minutes to take the 4 bolts out, pull the console up, and then, you know, just make sure you count the number of turns you turn that nut to get the slack in the cable so that you put it back in the right position. Which reminds me, I gotta check that and make sure it's still about the same as it was. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
good shape.
Yeah, so guys, remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Till the next time, keep the shiny side up. Jeep on.